80 million unique Demat accounts, 40 million unique mutual fund investors. And these people really are doing it based on what they hear from a friend, hear from an uncle. And there's no real professional help being given here. And today, with the type of tech, the type of AI, and lastly, India's digital public infrastructure, there's really an opportunity to automate and make most of this digital for a large set of that population. All our data is also encrypted and stored in the database. So even if you were to access the database, all PII, so personally identifiable information, so PAN and information like that is encrypted and stored.
Can artificial intelligence power your financial journey? AI can do so lots, many things, even more than what we had imagined a couple of years ago. But allowing AI to assist you in something as sensitive as your finances, it's really something, isn't it? Today, we are going to speak with Mr. Kiran of MyFI, which has developed an AI-powered financial app. We are going to learn how AI can help in finance, fintech, what is the scope, and of course, we'll learn what is MyFI is all about. Kiran, thank you so much for doing this with us, and welcome to TSW. Before I start our conversation, I'm really interested in your personal journey. Like you were in London, you have been outside, but now it's so rare to have someone who has moved abroad and then come back, right? Even though there are few, but not really many.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here, Cole. So just a quick story on that, right? I left India when I was 18. I did my undergrad in London at Imperial College. And after that, I worked there for another 4 years. Did banking tech. So first at Merrill Lynch, followed by Morgan Stanley. Then I had an opportunity to move to New York as well. So I did all of that. But honestly, like throughout for me, it was very clear. I wanted to come back to India, start a business here because this is where I saw the opportunity then and continue to see the opportunity today. Maybe it was very deeply ingrained in me, right? From when I was growing up, my father was an entrepreneur as well and did various things in the country. So for me, honestly, there was no hesitation to come back to India at all. Perhaps timing, there was some back and forth on, but I really continue to believe that there is a very large opportunity for a market like India and, for someone like me to have an impact. And that to me is core to everything I've done over the past decade and will continue to do as well.
But do you see that there is a change in pattern where, remember the entire conversation around brain drain. Do you see that the talents are now focusing on India? They see more merits here rather than, just have a life in, say, US or Canada, maybe?
See, I think the pattern is definitely changing. There are far more people willing to move back to India, work with startups here, even larger businesses. A lot of core functions, even at larger organizations, are being done out of India. So it is changing. I do think that it will take some time before, everyone just wants to stay here by default. Exposure to the West, working there, living there still has its charm with a lot of people. But hopefully as they experience that, they will decide to come back themselves as well. But I think the pattern is definitely changing. I personally have a lot of friends who have lived abroad and moved back to India. Even younger generation, I feel like a lot of them are studying abroad and coming back to India as well, because even the economy is there. There's been a lot of up and down in the West as far as the markets are concerned. But in India, there's only one direction it's moving and it's up, right? So all the signs suggest that this is the place to be. And I think the newer generations are also realizing that. However, it will take some time for it to have critical mass, so to speak.
Okay. So whenever I talk to a lot of founders and startup founders and people in the industry, I try to ask with a very simple question is that, what is the problem area you are trying to solve? What is the gap? So for the MyFi also, this is what I want to begin with, what is the problem area which you are addressing and how?
Got it. So maybe I should talk a little bit more about my history there as well, because even while I was in the US, I was very keen to move back to India and do something in the wealth tech, fintech space, right? I remember 2008-9 markets were down so much. And yet I had family members and friends asking me, hey, these funds used to give me so many dividends. Like what's happened to that now, right? Not realizing that their portfolio itself is probably down 20-30%, if not more, depending on what they invested in. So there is a massive lack of financial literacy, which multiple reports have shown in India. And that gap is something that I saw very early on. And, that piqued my interest even then, right? In fact, some of the fundamentals of what we're doing today with MyFI started then, right? The problems, the platforms that were there, the opportunities that were there, presented itself even over a decade ago. So really the problem that we're trying to address and the opportunity that we see is that there is this growing interest in investing into the capital markets, but there is nobody to guide them through that journey. India today has less than 1,000 RIAs or RIA licenses. I think it's at around 970 right now. It's only going down instead of going up. Even if you add mutual fund distributors in there, it's still only 120,000, 130,000 people, right? But you have 80 million unique demat accounts, 40 million unique mutual fund investors. And these people really are doing it based on what they hear from a friend, hear from an uncle. And there's no real professional help being given here. And even if we were to train up more people to, give people advice, the scale of India does not allow for a manual only approach, right? It needs to be digital. And today with the type of tech, the type of AI, and lastly, India's digital public infrastructure, there's really an opportunity to automate and make most of this digital for a large set of that population, right? So it's everything from what is a mutual fund to find me a tech fund to invest in. And that whole journey becomes very natural as you enable it through a conversational experience, which is what MyFi does. So the entire app is essentially conversational.
So it'll be great, if you can help me understand, like, what are the top features of the platform and how does they work?
Yeah. So we launched MyFi sort of July 1st in the public domain. So it's only been around 10, 12 weeks. So very early days today, the primary focus for us for our early launch was users, early investors who are investing in mutual funds. So if you come to the app, the first thing we do is we connect your mutual fund portfolio. So you put in your PAN phone number, you consent through an OTP, and we're able to pull in that data from wherever you invested, right? Any brokerage account, even if you did it through a mutual fund distributor, we're able to aggregate all that information and show it in one place. That is one key feature that I want to highlight, because a lot of people have also been like, oh, I didn't realize I had so much money, right? Because they had investments done 5 years ago, 10 years ago, forgot about it, or it was disparate and in multiple places. And we brought it together in one place. So that's one key feature. Once you have that connected, we are then able to give you insights on your portfolio, right? We're not asking you to reallocate the whole thing. We're saying, hey, you invested in mid-cap or you invested in a pharma fund. Here are some options that may be better for you, which give you lower expense ratio, better performance, etc. So it's really analyzing your current allocation and then giving you the opportunity to say, hey, here are some better options, or you're doing fine, there's nothing for you to do. We also allow you to discover new funds, right? So if you can say something like, find me mid-cap funds that have returned more than 20%, right? Or find me a tech sector fund that has the best returns. So you don't need to be specific either. You can use general language as well to kind of discover what you're looking for. And last point I should probably highlight right now is we also allow you to compare them. So you discover funds, you can say, hey, actually, I want to compare these and make a decision. So you can, once you find the funds you want, you can say, compare them, and it gives you a ranking. And then you can see more information based on returns, risk, expense ratio, and other factors as well. So really simplifying that journey for the user and allowing them to ask for what they are looking for.
Okay. So I'm like someone who is an enthusiast. Like, I don't really invest a lot, but I'm really trying nowadays. I'm trying to read and trying to understand. So do you think MyFi is the kind of a platform which will be suitable for someone who is a newbie like me, who doesn't really know much or has a very small, relatively small amount of money allocated in, say, all these kind of funds?
So I would say the amount of money you have is not relevant. Whether you have 1,000 rupees or 1 crore rupees, you can use MyFi. There is no sort of restriction or nothing you're losing out on based on how much money there is. The one thing I would say is that we always take a long-term view on investing because we believe that wealth creation happens when you're taking a longer-term view, holding positions and things like that. So if you are somebody who has that view in mind, then yes, absolutely, MyFi is for you. But if you are looking to actively trade, right, buy something today, sell that in 3-4 days, MyFi is probably not for you. So irrespective of whether you're experienced or not, we are not the platform where we encourage active trading or give you data to kind of make active intraday trading decisions. We are the type of platform where you take a longer term view, hold certain positions, and then see that grow.
But if you see the trends, nowadays, how many people are actually, I'm sure, because they're moving out from the conventional, say, FDs and other kind of investments, say our parents did or like we used to do. Now people are trying to diversify. They want stock, they want SIP, they want SWPs and so on, right? But I see that, a lot of information that is on the web, there is a lot of, there is a sort of a temptation, if I might want to say that, that in a very short duration, this is how you're going to make, say, 1 lakh se 1 crore kaise bana le itne dinon mein and so many days, right? So it's kind of, it's always, keeping the investor on the edge. And I know for sure, like, even in our parents, they had a very long term, this is what I've done now. So you would have seen in your, in the olden days also, बच्चे की शादी के लिए रख लिए मैंने पैसे, right? They've kept it for the marriage. Even the kid has just born, now I'm gonna put money aside for the marriage, education, and so on. They has to have long-term plans, right? But do you see there is this a little bit of urgency or a little bit of impatience in terms of how much money, in terms of money making?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a society, we have changed a lot, right? It is not just money making. The idea of instant gratification is so normal today, right? I mean, when I was a child, if I want to listen to music, it's like get a cassette tape, put it into the thing, and then play something, right? Today, I want a song, any song, you will probably find it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever platform you use. And it's instant, it's seconds, right? So I think as a society, we have changed, right? And we're looking for fast results in all aspects of life. So that mentality has definitely changed. I think what's a little worrying about that is people are falling into this trap of quick money as well, right? And I think that is very problematic when it comes to wealth creation, because in fact, this week, a few days ago, end of last week, SEBI launched another report, which basically said 93% of your derivatives traders, retail derivatives traders, are losing money. So again, it is someone trying to make quick money and they are basically losing out. So I think that is a very challenging problem. However, I would say that, we are a nascent market. All countries go through this evolution. So I don't think that it's overly concerning. But what we do need to address is the financial literacy aspect of it and, provide more guidance to people while they are investing. So what ideal scenario would be people think like our parents did in terms of timeframes, child's born, let's say for education or marriage or whatever it is, but put it into slightly better performing products, right? So move from bank accounts and FDs and gold to mutual funds, ideally with a longer term view there.
You're so right about, AI literacy, about financials, and we didn't really have that kind of literacy when we were in our early part of career, right? And in my early 20s, I did not really know much, right? So I thought like, just save some amount and, things will happen. But then eventually now I kind of, all this exploration has happened just because now mind is knowing that, that, okay, now I have to really, get some returns.
Yeah.
If I'm putting aside certain amount, I need to, which is the best option right now and which is the safest option also. So which is on the point. So now, which is very correct, we need AI, we need a financial literacy, we need better platforms which solves the purpose. But should I trust an AI to do so?
So, I should talk in a little bit more detail about how our product works to help clarify that, right? So, yes, we are a Gen AI forward product, which means you go into the app, it's conversational, like ChatGPT, you can type in things and it understands what you're saying, right? But when it comes to the actual financial model, so whether it's searching for a product or it's comparing products or analyzing a portfolio, making recommendations, all of that is being done by more deterministic financial models. So what that means is we have an investments team working behind the scenes, essentially building these models, deciding what factors go into them. And if you give it a certain input, the output will be deterministic. So you know what's coming versus Gen AI where, it tries to adjust the language to kind of answer it slightly differently. These financial models are deterministic and controlled and approved by us. So it's not Gen AI, generating recommendations. It is Gen AI being used for the conversational element. The models themselves are essentially developed by our investments team. So unlike, in fact, if you go to ChatGPT today, I think you can even type in things like, what funds should I invest in? And it starts giving you answers, which I first think it shouldn't do. And second, definitely would not trust given where we are right now.
Correct. And this is what I wanted to understand. Like, so from what, if I understand it correctly, there is a combination of tech, AI, as well as, say, human intervention, right? So, but also help me understand what are the checks and balances are put in, like when you are training the model, right? When you are feeding the data, how does that work? How do you make sure that it does not, say, for instance, XYZ fund does not get more weightage as compared to ABC fund, right?
See, I think firstly, so in terms of how we get our data, we have data feeds from providers that we pay a license fee to. So we get daily data from them. As to, a certain fund not getting more weight than another for any other reason, I mean, if it's genuinely performing better, obviously it does. But beyond that, we're not even allowed to give it higher weight. We have an RIA license. We're a regulated entity, which means that we cannot have any biases in terms of how we recommend funds, other than the factors, the financial factors that go into that fund. So when we set up these rules in our system, it's entirely sort of empirical, rule-based formulas that go into it. We don't do any preference for one AMC versus the other at all, and we're not allowed to. So if somebody feels that there is some bias in there, please let us know, because it's absolutely not intentional, and there's probably some other factor that's weighting it higher.
But do you see a possibility where AI is completely, there is less of very minimal human intervention, and AI becoming your, say, financial advisor at some point?
See, I think for a large portion of the population to start, there is certainly a world which is digital only. If you look at a lot of the newer generation today that's coming out of colleges, starting work, none of them have ever seen a bank branch, right? Like, it's entirely digital. They onboard digitally with Aadhaar, everything. KYC is all automated. So that's an example of, complete digital experience. And I think the early days of your career as you're starting to save money, it is unlikely that you need a professional human advising you on how to invest your money, right? There are some basics. You follow that, you will be fine. I do think that as your corpus of savings grows, you will eventually want to talk to someone, if for nothing else, to at least feel a bit more confident and secure about the decisions you're making, right? AI is today not at a stage where it replaces a human for sure, but it removes the need for a human for every decision. And the other thing I would say is, what AI is not replacing the advisor, it is enabling the advisor, right? So even as you go into these higher AUM accounts, as your corpus grows, the advisor also needs more tools and better tools, right? Again, if you go back to the original stats, there are only 970 people with licenses, 120,000 mutual fund distributors. Even if we scale all of that, right, there are like 100 million plus investors who are going to come online, right? There's a Goldman Sachs report that recently talks about how by 2027, there will be 100 million people in India earning $10,000 or more. So even for the larger AUM accounts, as advisors start to kind of, get more clients, they are going to need AI. They are going to need technology-enabled tools to essentially support their day-to-day jobs. They don't want to be putting basic reports together or pulling data together. They want to spend time understanding the portfolio. What do I talk to the client about? Really look at more market views and things like that. So I don't think AI is replacing humans. I think it is just enabling them to do more, whether you're a consumer or a financial advisor.
But if you look at, like, if the human financial advisors, like, and you have seen, like, the bias is I can't say that everybody is biased, but, if you read the news, how they try to, pump up certain things. And then, so I want to understand, like, do you think it could be misused as well? It could have certain cons to it also.
Do you mean with AI and tech?
Yeah. Say someone misusing it or trying to hack or maybe game the system, right?
I think every technological advancement in the world can be weaponized, right, in some form. Whether it's a nuclear bomb or a basic pager, a pager, yes. Anything can be weaponized. Now, I think over the years, we have gotten better and better at cybersecurity, just security in general across the board. In fact, I recently heard that my 7-year-old daughter is being taught about spam mails and phishing, or at least had a parent talk about it, right? So very early days. So I think that, again, even there, I think education is extremely important, right? Because without that, there can totally be misuse of technology. Forget financial services, right? In any domain. I had a friend recently whose WhatsApp was hacked, right? And that was done using social engineering, where she accidentally forwarded the OTP to someone she knew whose account had been hacked, right? So chances of things like that happening are also increasing. So can tech and AI be misused? Yes, absolutely. But I think all the way from governments to private organizations to individuals like you and me are getting better and better educated about the possibilities and have the right tools to protect against it.
Mhm. So as we are talking about, like, say, spam or cybersecurity, so I'm really curious about what are the firewalls you have put in place, what are the safety nets you have, right? One of the things which kind of discourages me from going to any certain new platform is because the trust factor. Like, I can trust my bank, I trust my Sarkari bank, for instance, right? Okay, they will take care of it. I can be safe, right? But if I start trying out different app and maybe if the security is not there, so my entire financial data, right, and how it could be misused, right? Not just financial data, but also possibility of again going deep, the way tech is. So I just wanted to understand how your platform has put in the checks and balances.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a very good question and top of mind for not just you, but for a lot of people out there, right? So when it comes to privacy and security, that's really been at the heart of how we designed the platform right from the start. We are cloud hosted. We use security technologies that are out there that prevent even denial of service attacks, which we accidentally triggered ourselves while we were trying to test something. So we verified that a lot of this works as well. A denial of service attack is where basically multiple people try to hit the service to bring it down. So we know that protection is already in place as well. In addition, when it comes to data, right? So let's say hypothetically somebody was able to get into our database. All our data is also encrypted and stored in the database. So even if you were to access the database, all PII, so personally identifiable information, so PAN and information like that is encrypted and stored. So we have tried to do everything we can to ensure that data is secure. And even in the case of a mishap, that the data cannot be read.
Okay. Also, one more question as a follow up, like with such sensitive data handed over or being shared, right? And generously, right? Generously, we are sharing all this data. Is it possible to create for someone to create some sort of a personal profile, or maybe or have a very targeted thing for some for an individual?
See, I think the way you connect your portfolio and data on our app is you enter your PAN, your phone number, and you provide an OTP. So if someone has your PAN, has stolen your phone, or nowadays there are these SIM cloning attacks as well. So if something like that happens, then uh, uh, I see our app is read only, right? We don't act on it. What I would be more concerned about with something like that happening is people transacting on your bank account, right? So in our system, the way we are set up today, you can't really misuse or do something on our platform that could steal all your money. But the point to be concerned about there would be other transactional platforms that you're on, like your bank account, that could be misused. But in fact, I was recently at GFF, the Global Fintech Fest in Mumbai, and one of the things that someone was talking about is how we think about passport and PAN as and Aadhaar as unique IDs and important information to keep safe, but we never think of our phone numbers as being so private. And today, most systems are based on phone number and OTP, right? So I think keeping that secure is something that everyone needs to think about, and be a little extra cautious about both keeping it secure, giving it up. People often switch SIM cards because there's a better offer, don't want to go through the phone number porting mechanism and things like that. So my only advice would be keep your phone number very secure. Okay.
And it's a great advice and a great reminder to everyone who's watching it and hearing it is that, do not share OTP with unknown people, as simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So again, wanted to understand, how do you see that AI on your platform is going to get better? How will it learn from the data from user behavior? What is the AI learning curve you see for on your platform?
Yeah. So, today, you come to the app, you ask a question, it gives you answers. Honestly, I think the future is where MyFi itself is coming to you saying, hey, your salary is at your bank account, do XYZ things, right? So really being more proactive about what you can do, how you should do it, still allowing for user consent before taking any action. But I think being more proactive and telling the user and helping them through the journey. Because at the end of the day, wealth management and finance is not something you're necessarily talking about, discussing, thinking about all the time, right? So allowing us to tell you when the right time to take action is something I think will be really powerful. And as a platform in general, still very early days. We're only just about to introduce stocks onto the platform. So a lot of features coming in, which happy to talk more about. But really, as a taking a slightly larger view, we really want to be like a human who helps you through this process, where we are proactively helping you, saying, hey, here are some actions you could take, whether that's monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever that might be.
Okay. One more question about AI, and then we'll talk about something else. There is a lot of discussion, that India should have its own LLMs and models, right? Instead of relying on global products, right? Do you see it's a more of a challenge or as an enabler?
So I think the world with AI and tech, and a lot of new technologies today is evolving to a place where we need a lot more global collaboration. So do I think India can build its own foundational models, LLMs? I absolutely think it can. But I think there needs to be a lot more collaboration between India, US, other European nations, Asia, etc., which is the only way that we can both grow in the right manner. I also think that the priorities are different in different countries. For example, yesterday I was at an event and I met the founder of another Gen AI based startup, which is currently based out of India in Bangalore, around 40 AI engineers. And he's largely serving the US market, right? So I was asking him a little bit about his journey and how all of that works. And what is interesting is that he was, one, able to get talent in Bangalore to do this. And two, the kind of optimizations they were doing with fine tuning models and using smaller language models instead of large language models for very specific use cases. It was not only reducing the cost of operations, but it was also increasing the accuracy. So at the end of the day, I think all of this happens through collaboration. And I absolutely think that we can build all of this in India.
Okay. You talked about, adding more features to the platform. Okay. So can you give me a walkthrough of like, how do you see MyFi diversifying in terms of products and in terms of features in the coming future?
So I'll talk a little bit about specifics, but also, about how we want to position this product, right? So the biggest thing that has come up again and again is, why don't you support stocks on your platform, right? So now when you connect your portfolio, we only do mutual funds, but as you were saying as well, especially in the younger generation, people want to invest in stocks. So that is rolling out very soon in the coming weeks. It'll allow you to connect your portfolio. We're using account aggregator again from RBI and the government of India, where you can get data from multiple data sources wherever you trade and aggregate all of that information here. We will again do analysis on that portfolio, allow you to discover new stocks if you want to, and enable that entire journey. We'll also be bringing in modules like planning, towards specific goals. Also signs of that personalization I was talking about, where we're not just, responding to a question you asked, but giving you more personalized context and information around your situation. But slightly more broadly, right? These are very specifics that I was talking about. At the end of the day, we want to be your wealth assistant and not just your investment assistant. So eventually we will get into other product categories as well, and really help you through that journey of what is right for you at this point in time in your life, right? Whether you're married, kids, etc. So based on that, we will be able to make very personalized, specific recommendations.
Do you see MyFi becoming like a more of a plug and play? Also, say why not MyFi for health insurance, MyFi for say car insurance, or term loans, or something like that? Do you see something like this being adopted in other streams as well?
Yeah, see, I think broadly all of those do come under wealth, but we also don't want to make our product too big. I honestly, irrespective of MyFi or not, I truly believe that this Gen AI technology that we have today, that we've like barely scraped the surface of, it's been 2 years really, right, since ChatGPT, a little longer maybe, enables a type of conversation and content discovery that we've not seen in our lifetimes. So I think that we are shifting from this screen and form-based paradigm to a conversational paradigm in almost everything we do, right? So just recently I was talking to a friend, talking about home automation, right? Home automation today means let's have digital switches programmed in a certain way, and party lights or dinner lights or mood lights or whatever it is. But really what he was saying is, why are you thinking about it so simplistically? Why not you walk into your house, you talk to your house and say, hey, I'm in an excited mood. Can you play some music for me and switch on the lights? And it understands what music to play, what kind of lights to switch on, and does all of that for you. So I think to answer your question, ChatGPT or chat for insurance, credit, all of that, I absolutely think will happen. It's just a matter of time.
So one more thing, do you plan to add like more vernacular languages as well?
Yes, definitely. I forgot to touch on that. All the stats in India today in the investor landscape, especially, say that the beyond 30 cities, as it's called, is growing faster than your top 30 cities. So if we want to reach the masses, and that is what we want to do, we absolutely need to go vernacular. The only reason we're hesitating to push too hard on that right now is we also want the technology to be mature. At the end of the day, we are using we are a financial app, and we are making recommendations in certain cases on what you do. And we want to make sure that the understanding and the responses are clear, even when we control the model. So we are cautiously moving on that, but getting vernacular is absolutely in our roadmap. I'm hoping we can do it sooner rather than later.
Okay, if you don't mind me sharing, my personal wish list or
Yeah.
wish list is to have like a very simple calculator. If I have certain amount, I want to know what should I do, how much in
Yeah.
what I'll get, and it should be not like, for instance, in the morning I wanted to renew my car insurance, right? So when 2 or 3 research results I clicked on, right, and they all wanted my phone number, and I knew if I
Yeah.
give that phone number to that pesky place, and it's very infamous on Twitter, that company to with it. Oh, it's right. And I was so afraid, and I did not even check. I wanted to renew, but I wanted to know, without giving away my, if it, I want a simple calculator which does not ask my personal details. I just want a moti understanding, right? I don't want to give away my phone number, right? So something, I really wish I can answer much more in a tabulated format, right? Okay, say if you have 1 lakh rupees, if you would go for SIP, then you make in 5 years this much. If you do LWP, then you make this much. As simple as that. And a person like not so much aware like me, that spreadsheet or Excel sheet or whatever it is, will be very, very, life saving probably.
That's absolutely on our roadmaps for the upcoming quarter. We're just figuring out the details on how simple or complex it should be. But you will get that feature, and I'll make sure I let you know when it comes out. Yeah.
I think that is all which wanted to ask and everything. Thank you so much for having a conversation with me. I wish you and the team very best.
Thanks, Kul. Thanks for having me on this podcast, and I hope your audience also learns a lot from it and experiences MyFI as well. Thanks.
Thank you.